Everyone, it's Betsy Marshall, and today's topic is bedtime. Bedtime routines, bedtime battles, bedtime transitions. Call it whatever you want, but if at your house you want bedtime to be different, then this video is for you. Are you finding yourself having to lay down with your preschooler until they fall asleep in their little beds and sometimes falling asleep along with them? Are you having your child come into your bed and sleep with you because it's just easier, even though you'd rather have them sleep in their own bed? Are you putting your kid to bed and then having them come back downstairs again and again and again for a glass of water because they're frightened, because they have to go potty? What's happening at your house, and what are the things that you want to change? That's what you're going to do first of all, is think about that. Sometimes we're thinking about those things in the heat of the moment while we're putting our kids to bed and we're not liking what's happening, or in the middle of the night when your kiddo comes in and you're thinking, I hate this, I want to change this. That's not the time to think about it. The time to think about it is at another time when you're not in the thick of all the things that you want to change. So I want you to be planful and think about, all right, I want to get Robert in his own bed. I want Molly to go to bed, and when I say goodnight, I want her to stay there. I want Jack to not come into my bed in the middle of the night and climb in bed with me, and I'm too tired to get him back to bed. Once you decide what you want to change, then we're going to make a plan as to how to change that. Now, first of all, knowing that children should self-soothe. They should be able to put themselves to bed, self to sleep, without having to be rocked, patted, play with your hair, nursed. Now, our kids are a little older, so hopefully we've gotten over those hurdles, and if not, then you need to start making those steps. That if you're finding that they have to be right next to you and you need to rub their back until they go to sleep, that's a crutch, that's a habit that we're going to try and work towards changing. So it might be, I'm going to make sure you're super, super tired when we go to bed, and then mommy's going to say goodnight. I'm going to pet your back for a few minutes, and then I'm leaving. Okay? Maybe you're not going to go too far yet because you're working at making those transitions. But think about if your child has a crutch or a habit at this point, and they really are accustomed to you helping them to go to sleep. We want our children to be able to settle their bodies and go to sleep without needing you right there. Sometimes it can be a substitute. Here's a stuffed animal that you can sleep with. Here's some soft music that you can go to sleep to. But needing you for their bodies to settle down is what we want to try and change, or at least some of us want to change that. So think about if that's happening. Now, before bedtime, we want to start to settle down. We don't want our kids to be amped up from rough playing or a whole lot of TV or gaming that happens before bedtime. We want them to be rather chill, and that might be a warm bath, a story, and then it's time for bed. Now, I've told you before, and I will remind you again, we're not asking, do you want to go to bed? Are you ready for bed? We're going to be very clear. 7 o'clock is bedtime. We're going to bed at 7. And then when it's time for bed, we go through our routine, brush our teeth, one story, and then mommy's going to give you 2 kisses, and you're going to bed. Now, if you're finding you have that child that's negotiating, 1 more book, 4 more kisses, I need another drink, you're going to be very clear, it's time for bed. We'll do those things tomorrow, but right now it's bedtime. So don't engage in the back and forth, first of all. Then you're going to put your child to bed, say goodnight, and then leave, hopefully without them going right after you, right? So you're going to settle them down, give them lots of positive praise. Look at you, good night, what a good boy, what a good girl, we'll see you in the morning, and then leave. If they follow you, just by the hand back to bed and put them back to bed. Don't talk at them a lot. Don't give them reinforcement for that behavior by engaging in quality time with them, because that's not what we're doing right now. We're going to bed. So if they get back up, they follow you out, you are very quietly, matter-of-factly taking them back to bed. Mine would come downstairs after I put them to bed, and simply I would do the get back to bed face as they were getting a little older. As long as I made sure they were okay. You know how you can look at your child and establish they're okay. They're not flush with a fever. Nobody's thrown up. Nobody's wet. They really are just checking on me to see what mommy's doing. Sometimes they just miss me and they're nosy and they want to see what you're doing. You can really establish that with your child in a very quick way and then send them back to bed. Ideally, you can take turns if you live with a partner or a spouse, so it's not always you that has to put them to bed, say goodnight, that, daddy will take you back upstairs. I know a lot of kids really want a particular someone to do that routine, and that gets very hard on that someone. So share that responsibility, share that load. Break those bad habits if they exist. My kids would come in the middle of the night, they would wake up, and instead of being able to self-soothe and get back to sleep on their own, they would come looking for me. And I was too tired to say, go back to bed. I would just open the blanket, and then they would come, one after another. And then my husband would leave because the bed would get very full. So you want to be able to get them back into their own bed, as long as everyone's safe and well, so that everyone can have a good night's sleep. And that's sometimes hard to do. Sometimes it's met with some tears, and tears are okay as long as everyone is well and safe. You can have a little light on. Mommy's right here. I used to give my kids a one time, come on down and check on me, but after the one time you're done. So there might be some give and take with your kids depending on where you are, but decide beforehand, what do you want to have happen, and then make a plan to have it happen. If your child has their own room, has their own bed, and you want them to sleep in it, then there are absolutely ways to make that happen. But it means making a plan, setting it up for success, and then sticking to it, even though the first few nights might be a little difficult, and you might have to be a little bit firm with your kids to make that happen. So good luck to you. I'm thinking about you, and as always, reach out to me through email if you have particular questions or is there anything I can help you with. Thanks.